Venezuela, Mexico, Cuba. We're very glad to have you all here joining us today. And I think that I'm going to get us started. And as participants continue to join in. So once again, good morning. Good morning, everyone. Bon dia, buenos dias. This is a webinar offered in three languages, English, Spanish, and Portuguese, where you will be able to choose the language that you so desire. There is a button which is a globe and it says interpretation. That's an icon in the shape of a globe. If you click on this globe, you will have the language options. You can follow this event either in English or in Spanish or in Portuguese as well. And you can also listen to the original audio of our webinar. We're going to have three panelists, and our webinar is organized to last between 1 hour and 1 hour and 15 minutes. Again, greetings to all from our Department of Evidence and Intelligence in Health from PAHO, and we are very happy that you have joined us today and are participating in this special webinar. In today's session, we're going to listen, learn, renew our knowledge on two very important databases to access literature, information, and these are PubMed on the one hand and LILACS. And we have two experts in this topic who are going to share with us and teach us how to better use these two databases in order to uh, um, take the best advantage that we can out of what they have to offer. We have an innovative approach. They will have online demonstrations of the two databases. They will be doing searches and they will show us how to proceed when we do bibliographical research. We have two communication channels with you today. One is the chat, and we ask you to please reserve the chat for doubts or problems with the session. If you don't hear well, if the interpretation is not coming through, if we're speaking very quickly. So reserve the chat for those comments to report any logistical situation relating to the webinar. The other communication channel that you have with us is the Q&A button, which is found there at the bottom of your screens, and you can access this and ask your questions, your technical questions about examples, how to do searches, etc. So these are the two ways to interact with us. So for questions about PubMed and LILACS, you use the Q&A, and the chat is limited to logistical issues related to the webinar. From the outset, I would like to thank all the colleagues and the interpreters and all the other colleagues from our department who are supporting us today in this webinar. This session is being recorded, and afterward, we're going to share it with those who aren't able to join us today live. So, without any further ado, I will invite our moderator for today's webinar, Leonard Ryan. Many of you know Leonard as Lenny. That's how we call him. Lenny is the co-chair of the subcommittee for capacity development for research for life. In our region, we have 22 countries and territories that are eligible to access Research for Life, and PubMed and LILACS are resources for Research for Life. So before giving the floor to our guest panelist, our moderator, Lenny Ryan, is going to quickly tell us of the importance and benefits of Research for Life.
Hello, everyone. Welcome from Florida, where we're finally leaving the tropical weather and having more mild weather, and that's been very enjoyable. I'm glad to be the moderator of this very dynamic course because we have two very knowledgeable presenters, and the hands-on will really show you how they work in the different databases. So briefly, I will talk about PubMed. I will talk about Research for Life, a brief overview, maybe 12 slides, and then I'm going to introduce Kathy, my colleague from many years, and then we will go to the PubMed presentation and demonstration. So, what is Research for Life? As Eliane mentioned, it is available in 22 countries within this region, provides institutions in lower income countries with online access to academic and peer-reviewed content. There are 5 basic collections, although you can search within it in any discipline. We now have 10,500 registered institutions from 25 countries, territories, and areas. Okay, so this used to be 5 programs, but now we function more in a unified content portal and we talk about 5 collections: health, agriculture, environment, innovation, and technology, with Hanari coming on in 2002 and the others being added several years subsequently. Okay, who can use Research for Life? Universities, research institutes, government offices, teaching hospitals, NGOs, national libraries, etc. Okay, here's actually a little map. Thank you to Daphne, who works with Eliane, for the graphical part. It shows there are, I think, 10 Group A free access countries, and the project I'm working on is trying to get, we're starting in the Caribbean, more use, more participation, more dissemination about Research for Life, because it is underutilized in many of these countries. Group B pays a low cost, and I think there are 12 in that group. I'd like to note that Research for Life is just started registration for an online MOOC in French. So we're really trying to reach our colleagues in Haiti because they're kind of a stepchild within Research for Life and within communicating about the project. Okay, how to register. If you need more information on this, you go to this URL and it lets you check if you're registered, at least if you're a university or a government agency, and then you go through the steps to actually physically register. And then within 10, 14 days, you'll receive information back from the office in Geneva. Okay, we have a new unified content portal that was launched in July after a lot of work. It's much more dynamic. It's much more up to date. It gives the users different options. We're so pleased to have this. There are 3 portals: the Unified Content Portal, the Agora portal, and the ARDI portal. This has to do with the dynamics of the different agencies, and 2 of them needed to have their own unique portal. All the health will be in a unified portal. Okay, you can log in directly to the portals here, use the same username and password, or you can log in from the Research for Life page. Let me speed up. This is to show you that we have a Spanish language display within the new portal, so you can do all the screens that come up will be in Spanish, although sometimes you go into this function or that function and then you're back in English. Okay, from this initial page, you can see you have content, different lists, journals, books, reference sources, databases, free collections, publishers, and then the collections. If you want to limit it just to health, you go into the collections. What you're getting here is a list of the resources under these disciplines, under subjects. You still have to go into a different box to do a keyword search. Okay, so here we have shown you, I have highlighted the databases, I've clicked on collection, Hanari, there are 31 databases, and you can see it starts in an A to Z list. And if you scroll all the way down, you'll see that LILACS is listed there, and then you see also PubMed. Why would you want to go? If you are in a registered institution for Research for Life, if you go to PubMed through Research for Life, you will have access to many of the full text journals, articles that are available in your country when you do your searches. So that's why we send you to databases and then to PubMed. I think LILACS is more self-sufficient than that. Okay, as I said, search box. You search in this, or you hit when you're in the collection or the content page, you click on the magnifying glass, and this searches across all of Research for Life, and it gives you access to the full text for the material that is publishers grant access in your country. So please remember to use this to do your keyword searches, and you should be able to open the full text without any problem. If not, you report it, okay? In the content portal, there's, on the initial page, there are 3 little horizontal bars. It's called the hamburger menu. If you go in there and you go to country offer page, you can see what is available in your country if you're in any of the 22 countries. So I've selected Guyana. I put in university, faculty, and college, and I clicked on find, and it gave me a list of, you can see 97,000 books, almost 17,000 journals, 62 reference sources, and 14 databases. So there is a lot of access. Within Research for Life, publishers can grant access or not, and this is a very complicated issue. But for this country offer in Guyana, it's really very, almost all the resources, and then you can scroll down and see which publishers are available. I think that is it. If you want to contact us, we have 5 different options. Facebook, there's the help desk down at the bottom, there's our website, Twitter. So you have all these different social media options. I'm actually now going to stop my sharing, and I get to very briefly introduce my colleague, Kathy Kwan, who I've known from the Medical Library Association for, what, 20 years? We must know each other for 20 years. And when she's about to retire, she came to me and said, maybe I want to help a little with Research for Life. She had done some technical help before, but I want to go into capacity development. And she's been a real asset for the capacity development team. Okay, so she is now an independent health information specialist. For 16 years, she was a staff scientist at the National Center for Biotechnology Information at the National Library of Medicine, where she led the PubMed Link Out project. So if you're in a library and you go through your library database, and then you're searching journals in PubMed, it will link to that database and you'll get the full text. And she spent a lot of years working on that. But as I say now, she also coordinated the PubMed Central International effort. Remember how if you go into PubMed, you can get links to the PubMed Central articles. But at this point, I'm going to stop. I'm going to turn this over to her. And please pay attention carefully. You will learn a lot about how to use PubMed. And all these little things that you weren't sure of will now become clear to you. So I turn the floor over to Kathy.
Thank you, Lenny, for the kind introduction. You see my screen, I presume, right? All right. So in this 30 minutes, I'll do a lot, and I try to make it on time. All right, so there's a lot to talk about in the new version of PubMed, which come in last year, in last May. And so in this 30 minutes, I will reintroduce PubMed to you and touch on a little bit of his history and content to set the stage and give you a quick look at the redesigned interface and offering some insight and tips for using PubMed. And the presentation will end with one PubMed search. So what's PubMed? You all know, PubMed is a database and a search platform of citation and abstract for biomedical and life sciences literature, produced by the National Center for Biotechnology Information at the US National Library of Medicine. Right now, it has 33 million citations, with more than 1 million added every year. So it's very fast growing. And the records oftentimes also link to full text at PMC, which is free, and also from publisher site. And every day there are over 2.5 million unique users searching PubMed. In addition to interactive search, PubMed also very big on API and machine access. So there are more than 6 million API call every day, and then a lot of people download PubMed through the FTP server. This high volume of usage helped to build a knowledge system around the world. And so that's why you're interested in this topic. PubMed actually just became the searching platform for Medline and other resources available freely on the internet since 1997, when the electronic journal just came about. To user, what makes PubMed really special is its superior content, which is stemming from a long history of careful curation. In 1879, the Library of the Surgeon General Office in the US, which right now the National Library of Medicine, began a monthly publication to index medical literature in the world under the title Index Medicus. In 1971, the citation from 1966 onward were put online into mainframe, and then subsequently CD-ROM became Medlars Online, or we call it Medline. Citation from 1946 and 1965 were added to Medline in 1996. In fact, older citations are added to PubMed all the time and under different projects. So the oldest citation in PubMed right now is from 1781. What is in PubMed? The largest component of PubMed is Medline, which have more than 5,200 scholarly peer-reviewed journals. And the citation are indexed with the NLM medical subject heading to facilitate the search. Medline also consists of PubMed also consists of citation from PubMed Central Journal and also NIH manuscript. So in here is a little bit of breakdown. Medline is the largest component, consists of 87% of PubMed. And these citations are indexed with the medical subject heading. And journal to be included in Medline are being selected by a committee called LISTRIC, the Literature Selection Technical Review Committee, which is an NIH advisory committee. The selection rate is about 12 to 15% of the journal apply, so it's very prestigious to get into Medline. And the process are very well regarded and earn Medline the reputation for the quality of for decades. Medline accept non-English journals as well. For your information, only 139 journals are in Spanish or Portuguese. So there's a little bit way to go on that under that round. So overall speaking, 14% of PubMed citation are from non-English article. And these articles have translated titles and English abstract where available. The rest of the PubMed citation come from PMC and books. Established in 2000, PMC is a free full-text archive of biomedical and life sciences journal, whereas book is a database of selected free online books and documents. There are selection projects to go into those database to ensure their technical merit and publication. However, on 2008 onwards, PMC became the repository of public access policy of US NIH and other US government agencies like the National Technical NIST, we call it Institute of Technical Standard, and also other funder like the UK funder like Wellcome Trust. This policy required their grantee to deposit a copy of their final peer review manuscript of their journal publication to PMC. And PMC sent those citations to PubMed. So right now it's about 0.3% of the PubMed citation, about 90,000 articles for those manuscripts. And those the journal for those manuscripts are not under, have not been selected under either the district or PMC selection process. So that kind of set the author manuscript in PubMed a little bit different from a regular article. So you might want to tell your user how to identify them. So PubMed, the NIHMS article expand the scope of PubMed to things other than life sciences and biomedical journal, because those public access policy has include agency with a larger scope, like with a European Research Council. So say, for example, in this article, it is from the soil organism, which is not under the regular biomedical subject area of PubMed. So for PubMed Central article, for those article citation, you will want to go to the full text in PMC, and they were clearly labeled, which is author manuscript in sidebar and also banner. But for the best to do would be to search under, if you see some journal title, which you wonder why it is in PubMed, then you might want to search in NL catalog. And it can tell you clearly that the current indexing status is not indexed in that line, and also it is not in NLM collection. So it's a way to tell people, because some people complaining about PubMed having those kind of predatory journal, questionable journal. So for those kind of cases, you might want to check the NLM catalog for it. So coming back to the Pubmed interface, the redesign philosophy is very clear and listed out in the mission statement. Basically, Pubmed just want to go into 21st century. The old interface has been around for a while, and the new interface, not so new anymore, has been a year. And it's really mobile friendly at the same interface for desktop and mobile device. And then the database is in the cloud, so really efficient and scalable. You can, when there's not enough hardware, we could just expand it right away. And we also encourage collaboration because other people can utilize the copy on the cloud to do what they want to do. So this is very interesting. And we also use agile, I'm sorry, I'm no longer an NLM, I keep on saying we, but yeah, and NCBI has been very agile in their development. So they're very fast, they turn out really fast, and they can test new feature every now and then very quickly. So this is a quick summary display. You probably knew about it, I presume, but just a quick overview. And right here, you want to, there's a sort display option. The thing which is different is the you can show snippet right now from the abstract if they have it, and we encourage you to use the best match because it flows the most relevant article on the top. And also on top here is a lot of function that you can get output your site search result to you save in file, email to yourself, you send to a collection or your citation manager, or can also create a search alert for your search. And here in each citation, you have selection box to tailor this function. And also you can cite it right there. You can click out here to get your citation in the style you like. By the way, recent thing is that it will remember your style here, and then you can email up to 1,000 citation in each email. And then to the left, and actually it's my favorite part, it is filter, which is the most powerful feature to me in PubMed. The filter sidebar is very flexible and usable, and there's a number of default here. And then I highlight a few in blue boxes, which I feel is important. The associated data was relatively new. Key out those citations with data. You can have easy access to the data, underlying data. And systematic review, it is as a actually, systematic review appear in two places, one as an article type and also as subject. Theoretically, this is for publication type, but now we kind of don't want to confuse people. So both these two are the same. You can also click additional filter to select more to appear in this sidebar for you to do throughout the search. Here's a few that I select, like preprints. Just warn you for because of COVID and NLM test on the taking in some preprint, about 2,000 or some now. So you might want to check this out. So those are really recent article. It might be in the preprint subset. And also you can, if you want to search on an article which is non-English, you might want to play with the language tag. The abstract displays is also refined, and basically the access for the full text icon here, you can cite and fill, and you can share it right from here. And then the page navigation is really powerful to go to the abstract on the side. And here, there is a tag on the article type for a few special article type like review and systematic review. Most of the citation abstract, if they're journal article, it's just regular research article, they won't have this tag. And also want to point out similar articles, it was related article before, which is a very powerful search tool for you to find related. If you find one article you really like, you want to expand yourself without really to play with the search, you can actually start with similar article because it has a very good algorithm to compare PubMed to other article in the PubMed database that save you a lot of time in expanding your search. The best practice of searching PubMed is just don't do anything, just type in your term. Which probably if you're a librarian, you're a power user, you will say, why I want to search mine. The reason behind it is that PubMed has a very elaborate algorithm to do the work for you. It might at least it's worth to just try it, type in what you want to do and see how PubMed translates it. And then it can help you a lot in terms of come up with terms, to appropriate term to use and stuff. So that's why, just type in what you want to do. So basically we ask people to but type in what you want to do. You might want to take a look, analyze your question, research question. So what PubMed does is that when you type in something in the search box, it will pass from left to right, and then throw out the stop word and then punctuation, and normalize it to like lowercase, and then throw your term into automatic term, the rest of the term to automatic term mapping, ATM. And here in this search, I just type in, I don't even bother to put in the Boolean because PubMed is using A and D as an implied Boolean operator. So if you just want to search with a few concepts together, just put them in. So here I just put in two concepts, COVID-19 and food security. and then go to advanced, and look at the history and search detail here. And here telling you how PubMed ATM translate your search. You can see it translates into two groups, the COVID-19 and food security. And mostly in a regular concept, they will PubMed will map you to the match if it's available, and also search it with keyword. So it's very inclusive. But for some very hot topic like COVID-19, PubMed actually mapped it to not just match and keyword, but also to a filter. As you can see here, you have term more than just COVID. You can come up with viruses and everything. So it's really good that you can just copy and paste it, and then you can do this. This is actually the gold standard search for COVID-19 in PubMed. So you can just copy and paste it. So instead of typing and then just afraid that you will lose some term. So ATM. Quickly, PubMed, after it, just thinking about PubMed will, after you clear out what you want, clear out the unique concept, come up with unique concept, and throw your unique concept into a conveyor belt. Just imagine it. And then we'll pass it through 3 translation tables: subject, journal, and author. Beware that it's in this order. And then once a concept picked up by one translation table, it won't go down there. So basically, if you want to search a journal, diabetes, you might want to qualify it in the journal title, because that diabetes is also a wild concept in subject too. So yeah, if you are doing a subject search, just type in it and let PubMed and ATM deal with it. But if you're looking for a specific citation, you might want to do something different, which we'll talk about later. The first stop is a subject translation table. The main component behind it is the map. PubMed will match your term to medical subject heading. And medical subject heading is a control thesaurus for National Library of Medicine, which used in PubMed and also other NLM databases, actually maybe used in your library too, for classifications and like indexing. And it has heading, subheading, supplementary concept, which is supplementary concept is something new coming up between medical subject heading, come out every year. And entry term is the synonyms and publication types and pharmacological actions. And in this part, it also will map it singular and plural words form, American and British spelling, and the drug name, brand name to generic name, and also the UMLS, Unified Language Subsystem, which map your term to more thesaurus like CPT, the current procedure terminology, or SNOMED CT. So this is the 2 examples of the match term, COVID, and supplementary concepts. So you can see, by the way, in searching PubMed, match term, the search is explode. Explode means it will search the concept and anything underneath it, and more specific underneath it, including subheading and any term below it. Say, so this way, you get a broader search. If you don't want it, you can have to qualify it as no explode. But in general, this will work. This has been working really well for people. Want to point out supplementary content, as I mentioned, MASH only comes out once a year, and actually right now the 2020 has come out, and then it's gonna in the process of putting into PubMed. It will finish by the end of December. So last year, COVID came out in like 19, so the 2020 MASH didn't have COVID-19 as subject term, but as a supplementary concept. So so it's really nice to have that to kind of grab new concept like that. So the second stop is the journal translation table. So in the full journal, it contains full journal title name, title abbreviation, and ISSN. And it has a journal, not just 52, but all the journal title or PubMed citation and NCBI databases, which is about 30,000. So it's a pretty good chance of you getting something there. So it's a good way to pick up, good way to use it when you're doing specific citation search. The third one is the author translation table. And it has the, PubMed has both author and investigator index for recent citation. And then in older time, is only have first initial and the author first initial and the last name, and then later had two initial. And then from 2000 some onward, it will have the full names. So, okay, so we'll come back to author index a little bit when I talk about author search. So how to turn it off? So you can turn off by putting your phrase in quotation, or turn it off using a search term, or put it in an advanced search builder. And I want to warn you that PubMed does not have adjacency searching, but it has an extensive index for phrases, which is commonly used. So in order to find out whether your term, your phrase is being indexed, you might want to go to show index in PubMed, to go to show detail advanced search builder and find out how many citation index under my phrase to really use it. Otherwise, you should, without using the double quote to turn off the ATM. So do try to, a lot of people don't even know show index, but do use it. And to, especially you want to search something a little bit off of the mainstream. The most frequently searched type in PubMed is search for the words by an author, believe it or not. So PubMed actually have names, author name date back to 1946, but is with the last name and first initial. And then from 2002 onward, it can have full name. So if you search full name, it might not be complete. And also PubMed publishers start giving ORCID to PubMed. So you might search that also in the author identifier field. But obviously, this only contain those citations, have those. If you want to be really comprehensive about doing a search for an author, you can just find an article which you know it is by that author. So I type in Anthony Fauci, which is a lead in infectious disease in US, and I type in his name, I got like 300 some article. So this is not quite right. I definitely don't get all of his work. So I find one article, which I know is by him, and then I verified it in affiliation, which is him. And then I click on his name. Then the PubMed will know that you want, it will kick off a nice feature called computer author sort. It will search your name, search your author's name in the appropriate format in index in PubMed, and which has happened to be AS, which I never know. Dr. Fauci's middle name is S. So search this and when this kick in, it will kind of telling you that, and then the time result by timeline will be unavailable. So it used an algorithm to throw the appropriate can come up. So a little bit about full text. PubMed have more and more free full text now. From 2010 on is 46%. And then for research for life user, you got more cover. So be careful to really, if you are eligible, do sign on to access PubMed for research for life. You have much more full text access. So outside tour is something that you can point it back to your institution. Here's Research for Life. You can invoke icon here. And this is really cool. It's University of Toca from Chile. And you can, if you have link resolver in your library, do consider to join, and you can invoke the icon here. Here's actually, those icons are from American University of Caribbean, and then from this university in Columbia. And then the other one I want to point out is also in my CNCBI, you can put in a custom filter in your search, which you can use. So this is just a Columbia for people in Columbia. Under the search box, there are more to find out clinical queries, especially allow you to search under predefined subset here, but defining here. So I'll show you if I can to here. And you can just type in the search. I just type in, and I don't have to type in COVID anymore. I just type in food security, and then I'll go back to PubMed. Do come to new stuff, come at PubMed Ethics every day. There's excellent resources for your reference. So I want to do a search. Do I have time?
Just a little bit.
Okay, quick. Okay,
Thank you.
here's my search. I searched it already in Safe Search. You can see how it goes, right? I type in the whole search and go to advanced field, and you can see how it is translate. So some of them are kind of noise. So, but then you can see how it cut off all the stop word and then divide it into different concepts. So I want to go back, and I actually have another safe search ready to go, which I think is more relevant by just cutting off the concept that I think is more useful. You got more resources. So I cut off COVID mental health promotion strategy. So I can just go to advanced field, and I actually filter with review because I got too many. And I got this 24 article. So you can see how they translated each one. Then you can actually then use it and then do your search. And actually, I look at this, the reason, if you don't do review, it will be 200 some. And actually, I found this very useful article, which you can really start from there. And it also talking about clinical query. I talk about it, and here telling you, you can do COVID here, and then invoke the general filter. And then here, then you don't have to do COVID anymore because it's redundant. So it's the same search, which I just did 233. So I'm sorry, I don't want to take more time. So, but it's a fun. Do try to go to the advanced search and search detail all the time and learn from there. And then because instead of typing everything about COVID, and you got a filter right there working for you, and then you can and you can go from there. So that's all I have. Sorry, bye. Let me stop, sir. Thank you.
Hello. I'm back, and my job now is to introduce the next presenter, who is Rosemarie Pinto. As Eliana said, is our librarian. Master's in Teaching in Health Sciences, Specialist in Health Information at Bereme Paho /WHO. So she's going to speak about how to search and effectively use that database, and I will go to listen to it in English. And this is a huge, what I learned yesterday, a huge resource that specializes, that has much more material in multiple languages. So at that point, I will turn it over to her. Thank you.
Rose, não se escuta. Não escutamos você.
We can't hear you, Rosie.
Não.
Still can't hear you. How about now? Yeah. I'm not going to be wearing my phones. We did test, but at the last minute, it doesn't work. I hope there's not
colleagues
a
following
lot of
in
noise.
English or in Spanish, a los que están siguiendo español. Rose va a hablar en portugués para ahí nuestro idioma tan querido. Los que quieren entonces seguir esos idiomas originales, no se olviden de usar el botón de interpretación para cambiar el canal. Muchas gracias. Sorry about that, Rosie. The floor is yours.
Ok, vou compartilhar a tela. Se
I'm
não me
going to share my screen.
eu tenho uma apresentação e vamos ver aqui. Share. Vocês conseguem ver minha
Can,
apresentação?
can you see the presentation on the screen? Yes, we can.
Cat, muito obrigada
Thank
pela
you, Kathy,
apresentação em PubMed.
for your PubMed presentation. I'm going to make some comparisons in terms of the access to the LILACS database. It's a database of Latin American and the Caribbean, and in order to understand the content and the importance of using it, when we do searches in the region, I'm going to speak about the content, starting with MIBVS, the concept of a search and advanced search. In order to put it in context, we have a huge universe, as Kathy showed us, which is PubMed. And here we have a comparison, which is the BVS universe, which is a portal which includes several databases. PubMed has Medline, and LILACS is the main base for BVS with about 970,000 documents. BVS includes Medline, which is the main base for PubMed. Therefore, the number of registries is much bigger. However, the number of journals which we have in LILACS, as Kathy mentioned, their representation in terms of Latin American and Caribbean, English and Portuguese, is a lower percentage. This is important because LILACS needs to be consulted as a complementary database, as a representative of what there is in terms of documents in our region. On the first page of the site, LILACS has over 972,000 registries, 553 full texts, and the most recent ones that came from the last few years, last 10 years, it is mandatory to upload the full texts. Therefore, the texts which we don't have are probably precede these 10 years, and we have a whole time span and a legacy for that time span that need to get in with the full texts. We have over 900 publications from 26 countries. It's open source, open access through LILACS or BVS. When we do a search, we recommend a registration on MyBVS, which is similar to MIME and CBI, where we can maintain a registry of our navigation and keep the interesting documents. It's very easy to sign up through social network or as an individual user, we can ask to receive alerts depending on our interest. And here we have a series of resources that you can select your favorite documents, themes of your interest, and a history of searches. On the interface, you can have an RSS kit in order to receive constant updates, and all of this is related to tutorials in order to know how to use all these resources in order to document your navigation. When you go into LILACS or BVS, you can access this way in order to have everything registered. BVS is a big umbrella under which we have several databases. The main one is LILACS. We have Medline and over 35 databases, among them PAHO IRIS, which is the depository of PAHO of OMS, of WHO, of some countries, and some specialized databases, nursing, and among others. All of these databases are part of this set within BVS. I am going to concentrate on LILACS, and what we do for LILACS can be replicated for the rest. We have some common questions. Can we use the same strategy of a search of PubMed? Do we need to translate the search terminology in Spanish and in Portuguese, and also in English, because many publications in the region, although it's the Latin American region, there are publications in English, including journals. May I use mesh? And should we include search synonyms? This is useful for any search in any database. We will always need to adjust our way of doing searches according to the characteristics of the context. Kathy showed us that when we navigate in PubMed, there are several differentiated resources. Therefore, we must pay attention to observe the best way to retrieve what we need. One important difference between the two systems is that within PubMed, when we do a search for free terms, an index of a retrieval goes into effect. In BVS, when we key in terms for a search within a database, the index that is used is TW. It's a word index. We don't have the ATM mapping, such as the one in PubMed. What does TW include when we key in a term? It includes the original title, the translated title. Through the methodology, there is a translation into English. Therefore, we retrieve the terms of the original title, for example. Words from the abstract, subject descriptors, and all of the languages involved: Spanish, English, Portuguese, and French. If the term has to do with the subject matter descriptor, there is a match. It doesn't matter the language, it will retrieve from the database because this automatic translation is done. Therefore, we can use the descriptors in any one of these 4 languages within LILACS or BVS. But if you don't use descriptor, but use a free term, a TW, which is a descriptor, by the way, for example, COVID-19 is one, it will search in any one of those languages, which is the same. But yellow fever, for example, it is different in these languages. So if we key in yellow fever, it will retrieve fiebre amarilla and the term in French. And also we can use types of publications, names of substances, and people's names related to that subject matter. This does not include author. If you want the author, we need to select advanced search, or we can use the author tag in order to do the search by author. This is just an example of how we retrieve. We see the retrieval of those words up on the top from the search. This is the open field, the TW field, which is the default camp in order to do our more general search or even the advanced search within BVS.
So when we go into LILACS, we will notice that there's a filter. As soon as we get into the portal, we're going to BVS to search only with LILACS. We need to notice within our navigation if the filter is still activated. You can see right below here, filter LILACS database. So that means out of all databases, we are searching at LILACS. So once I go into LILACS, that filter is already pre-activated. Now, if I want a different one, I have to go under databases and leave it open to all databases, or I can filter results only within LILACS. The rest is the same. You'll notice the filter over there, and also on this lower right-hand side corner, it shows a detailed box of the search. I will soon show you navigation, but first I want to show you something else. You can activate more filters. You can see those that already are listed. You could activate additional filters, and one of them is called country and region as a subject, which is very relevant for us when we want to search for documents that are published in certain countries, or sometimes not published in certain countries rather, but about certain countries. So that is not the publishing country. They are not journals from Argentina, but rather Argentina as a subject being filtered. So we do have that filter, which allows us to search for Argentina as a subject for document retrieval, which is very interesting to us since we do sometimes need to use or look for documents that describe that country. Now, if you're worried about the actual publisher of specific journals, then we have a different specific field which allows you to search for a specific country publisher. But since we don't have that field for subject, you have the other option. This would allow us to search for the COVID website. We have a search for countries in that website, and that is explained in the search for country. I'm not going to go into great detail as to how to search, but we do use Boolean operators. So you can combine or exclude terms and is the default operator, same as PubMed. If you include various terms and you don't use an operator, and will be applied, or you need to type in. And we have a peculiarity here. Not needs to be typed as and not. So in order to use the exclusion operator, we need to say and not only type not. Here we have some additional details, very similar if you're searching for a specific phrase. Differently from PubMed, we do always recommend that the phrase be placed in quotations. A truncator, we use asterisk, just like PubMed, and parentheses, which are used for organizing our search. I'm not going to detail here, just so you can see. We have specific search fields. We don't have all of them here, just the most commonly used. So this is one way of searching by index or by field, is to use the specific code for the field we are searching for. Now, a very significant difference between BVS and PubMed, not so different at LILACS, because LILACS does have Latin American and Caribbean literature, but when we search at PubMed versus BVS, we do see a huge difference. And some people ask, why do I get more documents at PubMed considering Medline and fewer results from Medline at BVS? And that happens because our system, as a default, uses the most specific search. So we use a term explosion. Diabetes, for instance, when there's a huge tree of terms, type 1, type 2, gestational. At BVS, we don't include other tree terms.
Sorry, just to be sure everyone can listen correctly, we are having some people reporting that there's no sound. Se escucha? Okay.
Is the English channel being heard? Good. We may continue. So the term explosion does not happen automatically at BVS. So that does cause a significant change in results. And ATM, as I explained, that mapping does not happen at BVS, which also leads to variation. We can use subject descriptors, including the entire tree. For instance, in the category example, instead of the descriptor, we have the category with an asterisk. That will lead the results to be more similar between the two, because the term explosion is a default at PubMed, but not at BVS, which leads to a lot of changes. Here we have different ways of searching. Remember when I mentioned the country of publication? If I want to know what listings come from Peru, I could type CP in lowercase, colon, and Peru in uppercase in quotes. And that would give me all the publications from Peru. Now we did lose sound in Portuguese.
Rose?
Perhaps we lost connection. We see her again. Now we are
A gente
back.
te perdeu. Você falou eu vou, aí a gente te perdeu. Vou tentar alguma coisa.
If you could repeat the last sentence. So now
Tá quase,
you can hear me
já
well?
está quase chegando no limite do nosso webinar. Tá bom?
We are reaching the end of our time. Very well. I'm just going to show you how to navigate. So we do offer some recommendations. Within the presentation, I have listed some websites where you can find more information on how to search. And I have here a question. What strategies can be used to promote mental health in people during the COVID pandemic? So you'll be able to see later there is already a filter at BVS. It's available on the knowledge page or the search strategy repository, which is fed by the network, which is present here today. And that allows you to see various pre-made search strategies. So COVID is in that repository. And I'm showing you here a filter for mental health. You can use multiple mental health terms. We can define some search strategies. For some reason, this is not loading. And here you can see every single resource. Here I have TI, which is going to search the title. I used MH. Why did I use TI here? Because if I leave TW, I don't need to use an MH. With a TW, I grab everything. But TI allows me to be more specific. If I just want to search the subject or just the title, I'm going to navigate just a couple minutes, Eliane, while I show them how I'm going to open my browser. I'm going to show you the answer. You can see my screen? Yes?
Sim.
Yes. This is my search strategy. I simply copied and pasted it in. So that was COVID and mental health. And I obtained 332 document results. You can see exactly what I mentioned. LILACS is already listed as a filter. I have here multiple databases because some documents are from other databases, so they will appear listed below. As I showed you, you can click more filters. Those are the ones that have already been checked, but I could select additional filters. Country, region as a subject. I'm going to
aplicar, eu vou ter o mesmo resultado, porém o filtro país, região como assunto
here's the result. And now it shows me documents that also cover that country as a subject. Standard subjects, or rather standard filters, can be main subject. And in that little box, you can see the entire list of strategies for that search. And in the end, it shows LILACS because at BVS, it's considering LILACS as a database. And what is important for us to see here, you can see the summary for those that do have a summary. So if I click on see more details, I can see the summary. I could export this information to a reference manager, EndNote or reference manager. I could export these documents to those managers. I can print. keeping in mind you will only be printing what shows on your page and not the entire text. And if I happen to be connected to BVS, if I click on RSS, it will send that searches RSS directly to my BVS. And something else that's quite important, in addition to filters, I could, for instance, access the entire text. By clicking on the title, I have a menu that shows full text, and it will send me exactly to the place where I can find the entire text. It could be a link from the publisher, say, for instance, Cielo, or any portal that allows for the full text. And I can include this document in my BVS because I'm already logged in. We have here additional details on the topic. So all of these resources are available, as well as similar ones. These are similar results according to the document which I selected. Going back to the main results, you can see all the details on the search, which I can check on. I could search for systematic reviews. In the study types category, we have over 30 types. And out of 300 and some documents that we retrieved, there are 2 systematic reviews, which were retrieved through search strategy filters. So we have here possible systematic reviews. You may click on them and also look for the entire text. Let me try to look at this one. I'm going to close navigation because I believe I have already used my time up. Here you see my navigation. I reinforce what I presented to you. I used a systematic review filter, and I believe that you can quickly find this information. If you want any more information, LILACS is also included in Research for Life, and you could search there or through accessing BVS or LILACS. And all the information is here on where you can find additional resources to help you with your searches on LILACS and BVS.
Muito obrigada. Thank you very much, Lenny, for your final comments on this moderation. So I have 2 final messages for the participants. They've been asking a lot about the presentations, the recordings. So before we close in this section, I will provide additional information. Lenny, the floor is yours for wrapping up so we can conclude our event. The floor is yours.
Okay. I'm trying to summarize 2 presentations that dealt with 2 different databases. And in fact, BVS, LILACS is one of many that are in BVS. What I would say is...
A BVS é uma dessas
Sorry,
bases
I'm
de
still
dados.
listening. I have to turn the translator off because I was hearing that myself again. Okay, so what I learned is I used to do everything the way Rosemarie did it in BVS and LILACS. Okay, and then we learned from Kathy, forget all that. after all these years of being a librarian. Forget it. Just put your terms in. But what I also learned is, and I knew this previously, go to advanced search, and Host Marie got to that point too. Look at your searches, look at the terms that are using, build additional searches using those terms, use the filters in both cases so that you're getting more precise searches done. That's what I learned. Now, of course, PubMed is 30 million citations, 5,200 peer-reviewed journals, but the other sources are reaching material that is not in PubMed. So they do complement each other in that way, and that is very important to know too. There's over 500,000 full text citations, mostly from the last 10 years in BBS, and you need to utilize those resources because they will not be in PubMed. But again, you'll have to do your much more precise searching in LILACS and BBS, as opposed to, as Kathy has showed us, just put the terms in and let the new PubMed do its magic. So I hope that is a good summary of two very good presentations. We would have liked to have a little more time for hands-on demonstrations, but both of them were able to do a bit of that at the end. And I turn it back over to Eliane, and she has mentioned that this is all available in tape, and so that those that want to re-listen to it can in whatever language, or tell their colleagues to listen to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lenny, very much. Thank you, Kathy. Obrigada, Rosemary. I would like to invite Kathy to turn her webcam on so we can see them, our dear panelists. Once again, just a couple of information for our dear participants. We reached more than 200 participants along the webinar. Thank you so very much. We had participants from many countries in the region. That make us really, really glad. And we look forward to have more events like that open to our fellow colleagues all around the region. I see Bolivia here as well, Peru, Brazil, Argentina, Mexico, many countries. Thank you so very much, Honduras. It's very nice to see many people interested on those two resources. A couple of final remarks. We do have a distribution list where we disseminate upcoming events, upcoming webinars, as we can also share tips, features, new databases as we discover them. And with your permission, we would like to add your names on this list, and this will be the channel. We will share the recordings, the databases that have been placed here, as well the PowerPoint presentations. I just confirmed with both panelists, Kathy and Rosemary. They are allowing us to share the PowerPoint with you. So through this channel, of course, you feel free for leaving the distribution list at any time. It's not mandatory to participate, but we hope that we can build a very strong community with people interested on learning, on sharing their knowledge, and inviting other people to participate. With that, I appreciate everyone's time. Once again, my fellow colleagues, Daphne, Daisy, Isabella, Flavio, Shanice, for supporting us, our dear fellow interpreters that were with us today, English, Spanish, and Portuguese, and not less, Lenny, Kathy, and Rosemary for being with us and invite us to learn more, to digest